Welcome back to episode 9 of Rookies on Rookies. We're super excited. We have the DIY queen herself, Belen Caballero. She got started in real estate by DIYing and doing it all herself, but now she's kind of transitioning to using contractors and managing them. So we're going to learn all about that transition today.
Thank you, Grace.
And before we get started, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. So to get started, Belen, can you tell us a little bit about your investing background and any current projects that you're working on?
Yeah, thank you, Amelia. So I'm really happy that y'all asked me to be here. I'm super excited. And yes, so I started real estate investing about 3 years ago. And truth be told, I started because my husband said it was a cool thing to do. I have to give him credit because I was not one that was raised. I wasn't raised at all with thinking about real estate investing or that you can even make money having rentals. I was the one renting a house, I was renting an apartment. I grew up always renting. And so when my husband and I met, he was like, whoa, I want to do real estate investing. And he started to listen to these podcasts and these books. Bigger Pockets podcast was definitely the first that we listened to together. Mm-hmm. And so then I started to get a little bit more involved. And it wasn't until, because he has a full-time job. I am currently full-time real estate investor. And my husband was trying to do both the full-time job and trying to manage projects, our out-of-state projects. And so he asked me to take over, and I was like, okay, I'll take over. So I started managing our out-of-state projects myself, and I fell in love with it. And then we had a couple issues with the general contractor out of state. We were residing in California at the time. So then I said, okay, let me move to Oklahoma and fix up our own rehabs, which is where I started to get more involved in the DIY aspect of rehabbing. Prior to that, I had done 2 of the houses that we were house hacking. But I wasn't really that pro. I didn't really know what I was doing. When I moved to Oklahoma, I was more, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm full-time now. I gotta, make sure that I know what I'm doing. So I was doing a lot of research, especially on YouTube. And then I've just been doing rehabs myself, and as well as hiring out general contractors and subs in order to kind of scale faster, because me doing them myself is not really scalable. And a lot of my time has become okay, I gotta split my time because I gotta do admin work. And then I gotta do actual rehab stuff.
So how many active projects do you have right now? Because I know when I see you on Instagram, I'm like, that girl runs around all day doing so many things.
I know. Actually, right now, we just have the one that I'm currently in. So where I'm in right now, I like to live and flip. So we're fixing up this particular house, should be done in the next few weeks. And we have one more waiting for us. But there has been times in the past where I had my general contractor in one, I was doing another one, and then I had subs going into a third one. So the max I've had at once is 3, which was very hectic.
Yeah, I can imagine. So could you give us a little bit of background on what experience you had as a DIY investor, or how you learned how to DIY? Did you just teach yourself, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so it started with my husband saying, I need your help. And, the wonderful wife that I am, I was like, okay. We had actually hired somebody to fix the triplex in California, which was our first investment. They ended up not finishing everything that they were supposed to. And so that house sat vacant for a little bit. One of the 3 houses sat vacant. And my husband said, I need you to help me. So then I was like, okay, on my days off, I literally picked up a drill and I started to do whatever. I honestly was the worst. I didn't know what I was doing. I was over here painting a baseboard like this and like that. And it was just horrible. And we actually had to go back into that house a year later to fix it because it was so bad. But it was a lot of YouTube learning, a lot of me going on other people's Instagrams and other DIYers and asking them like, okay, how do you do this? How do you do that? It was a lot of like mistakes made, and me trying to figure out like, okay, I messed up on this. I'm going to cry for 2 minutes and then I'm going to pick myself up and do it again, because there was a lot of crying and a lot of blood that was shed. And then I also did have my dad when I first moved to Oklahoma. He came with me, and he does have a background in like remodeling and construction. And we took on our biggest project, which it was a fire damaged house. And literally we took it to the studs and brought it back to life. And he like walked me through a lot of the stuff that I didn't know. And a lot of it was just like the building part of it, the construction side of it. And so I've taken all of that and just kind of like made it my own. But I'm constantly always still learning, and people ask me like, how did you learn? Like, did you go to school? I'm like, I went to YouTube University or whatever it's called. And I still do, like, whatever I don't know, I'm constantly researching it. And then I have one of my favorite books. I have it here actually. So I know it's talking about like the book of estimating rehab costs, but it has helped me in the sense of, okay, do I want to hire this out or do I want to tackle this on myself? And then if it's like in my budget to hire it out, I've gotten to the point where like now I do hire it out. And if it's not, I got to figure it out, and I'm going to do it somehow and make it look pretty.
So you mentioned that you had some bad contractor experiences to begin with. So for all the rookies out there who are scared about hiring out a contractor, what advice would you give a rookie to maybe interview contractors, or how do they find a good contractor?
Yes. And I definitely had a hard time with this. So I started with asking my realtor, who's also my property manager, for recommendations. I was like, who do you recommend for me to use? And he recommended one person. He was charging by the hour, which I'd never recommend any investor to pay by the hour, because it went from 3 months and $30,000 to 6 months and over $60,000. And I was like, that's because we were paying by the hour. And so it didn't work because I didn't like the fact that he wanted me to pay him by the hour. So I was like, okay, next. The next one, he he was more lenient towards like I wanted him to pay him in draws. So I told him like, okay, I'll give you a percentage up front, and then every like 2 weeks I'll pay you a certain amount based on how much you finished on the project. And he was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. I had learned a little bit more. I was like, okay, let's sign a contract. This is what the contract is. He signed everything, cool. But then he started saying like, oh, you know what? I had to do this. That's going to be an extra 2,000. That's going to be an extra da-da-da. So he kept adding more and more, and he would just do the stuff without telling me or consulting me and asking like, you know what, should we do this? Or what do you think? Like, should I just leave this alone? Like he just took his own like ownership, I guess. And then he just started doing his own stuff. So then the project went over by like $12,000. So I was like, how do I take control of that? So then I just kind of paused from hiring a general contractor. I started to build like my own credibility. And so other contractors that I met with, I was like, yeah, you know what? I've rehabbed 4 houses now. Like, I know what I'm doing. I don't say it in that tone, right? But it helped me to tell them like, yeah, I know that doesn't take that long for you to charge me this much. As well as, again, I'm referring this book because it also helps me kind of identify like, okay, how much should a general contractor be charging me, right? So then I like became more knowledgeable in that aspect. So when I did met with my 3rd general contractor, I was like very honest with him. I was like, I'm an investor. I'm going to bring volume to you. I don't need you to charge me homeowner prices, because a homeowner is going to be like, yeah, I'll pay $60,000 for you to remodel my house and it's just paint and new floor. I'm like, no, I'm going to give you volume. So he understood that and he wanted that. And so he has been working with me on the prices. He gives me a very detailed scope of work. And then we have a very scheduled out draw system. So at the beginning, I give him 35%. Halfway through, I give him the rest of, so it's 15% to make up 50%. And then at the end of the project, I give him the rest of the 50% that is owed. So that was like me just going up to him and saying from the start, this is how I want to work. And if you want to work with me, cool, let's do it. If not, then I can keep looking. So it's just being very like open about what you want and communicate that with the person that you're trying to work with. Don't let them give you the prices and then you just accepting it. Like make sure that you do your own, research, your own background. Like, okay, is this how much this is, like how normally people charge for? And then also like don't be scared to ask for different bids from different contractors. So if one contractor is giving you a ridiculous bid, then go to a second contractor and be like, hey, how much would you charge me for blah, blah, blah? And then compare the prices.
Yeah, that's all super helpful advice. So moving forward, you're still doing DIY right now. Kind of maybe last question. What is the plan for moving to hiring out all contractors? Is that the plan?
I want to say yes and no because I haven't really talked a lot about it on my Instagram, but I'm actually moving towards building my own remodeling company and working strictly with investors. So I have a really big project. It's an 8-plex coming up, or an 8-unit apartment complex in March, and it's gonna take me about all year. But that's like for another investor. So it's their apartment complex, and I will be helping him by rehabbing it. So I definitely want to build my own company, my remodeling company. So that's kind of what like the goal, the plan is, and I'm kind of really excited because I want to get to a point where I've grown my remodeling company big enough for me to completely step away from everything and then just do other bigger and better things, I guess.
That's so exciting. And if you guys aren't already following Belen on Instagram, her Instagram is full of amazing things. I'm sure we will link her Instagram on this video, so please check her out. I'm excited to follow that 8-unit renovation.
Yeah, me too.
That'll be really exciting to watch. So
yes, and if anybody has any questions for Belen or anything about DIY contractors, put them in the comments below. She can answer those. We can answer those. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. And give these ladies a follow on Instagram too. They're amazing and they do awesome work.
So thank you so much for being on the show, and we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody.